first things first is you want to get your petri dish lid, okay? So the lid, you have a petri dish with the segments, you have the lid. So I'm going to break you guys off into your groups, first off. Then, once you guys are at your lab stations, I'm going to have you guys bring one group at a time, bring their lid up, okay, to me. And I will get your planaria for you. I would like for you guys to have a piece of paper and something to write with as we make these observations today. The piece of paper will be beneficial for you because once you get your lid and the planaria specimen in the lid, you guys are going to have to put the piece of paper under the lid so you're going to be able to see your planaria, okay? You get each individual group of planaria specimen. So I'm just going to put a little drop on there with one of the planaria specimens. And then with your scalpel, with the cover on it, I'm going to give each individual group a scalpel. I expect the number of scalpels I hand out will be the number of scalpels I have at the end of the lab, okay, with the cover on top of it, with the cover on the scalpel, okay? So I'm going to take the cover off the scalpel. All right, you can see it's very sharp, okay? We've got to be very careful with this because it's one of those things where if I see you messing with somebody or messing with the specimen in any way, shape, or form, I will give you an automatic 0 and a referral to the dean's office, okay? So this is very serious, okay? So, with your planaria specimen, you're going to want to find the head with the photoreceptors, okay? Once you find the head, you're going to make an incision, okay? You're going to wait for the planaria to stretch out in the little dot of water, or a little drop of water, okay? Once the planaria is stretched out in long form, you're going to find the head. You're going to cut the planarian head off by essentially going straight down on it, okay? And then you're going to rock it back and forth real nice and gently, okay? The little squirmer, he's moving around pretty quick. Once the head is off, then we're going to go a little bit further down right before the tail, okay? Using the same method. We're going to come straight down on it, rock back and forth real gently, okay? Once again, you're going to wait for it to expand and elongate the body of the planaria, okay? So I'm going to make that same incision. I'm going to make that same cut like I did with the head, but I'm going to wait for it to get long, the body of the planaria. Then I'm going to... Now we have 3 individual pieces of the planaria, okay? So we're going to, from there, we're going to be putting each individual piece. We're in our petri dish, okay? So where it says 1, I want you guys to put the head portion, the head segment into the 1 dish, and the 1 in the dish, okay? And then in segment 2, or the second segment, which would be the abdomen, not the tail, we're going to put the abdomen in the second part of the petri dish, okay? And the tail is going to be going in the 3rd dish, okay? In the 3rd section of the petri dish. So first things first, I'm going to fill the petri dish. In each section, so 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to fill it halfway with water, with spring water, okay? So the planaria specimen, each individual section will thrive and live, okay? We don't want to fill it up all the way because it will overflow, and once we store these, we don't want to make spilling. We don't want to spill these, each individual section in the petri dish. I'm going to fill up halfway with spring water at your lab station using the pipettes, the disposable pipettes, okay? And make sure that we're using the ones that are in our jars with the spring water. Okay, so once I fill those up halfway in each 1, 2, and 3 section of the petri dish, then I'm going to be using my pipette to essentially suck up each individual. So what did I say? Segment 1, or the head, is going to go into what section of the petri dish? Good. So we're going to put it in section 1, the head. Okay, so I'm going to find a head. Should be the one with the photoreceptors. We're going to put the tail, we're going to put the abdomen, so the middle section, in section 2 in the petri dish, your petri dish, okay? I'm going to use a microscope, a dissecting microscope, okay? And the dish with all 3 sections of the planaria specimen, I'm going to put under the lab microscope. I'm going to turn the light on of the lab microscope, the dissecting microscope, and essentially try to find each individual segment under each section of the petri dish and make drawings and observations based on how they move and how your cuts look for each individual segment, okay, that you guys cut off your planarian specimen, okay? And then we're going to essentially draw what we see and record any movement out of each planarian specimen segment that we cut off, okay? Remember, when you're done with the scalpel, you want to put the cover on the scalpel, so no sharp end is showing, okay? Once you put the cover on the scalpel, you will give it back to me or another teacher in the classroom, and then from there, so once you're done looking at the specimens under the microscope, drawing in your lab packet, you're going to draw what you see, and then basically, after you're done drawing what you see, you're going to see if the photoreceptors or the eye spots are present, okay? Because remember, these specimens or this type of flatworm does not like light. It goes away from light, okay? Because the photoreceptors. So once we're done looking at each individual section, then we're going to take our lab lid, okay? The lid, not the petri dish with the segments in them, the lab lid. On the very top, we're going to write our initials of our group members and our class period, okay? And then when we're done, we're going to place the lid on top of the specimens of the petri dish, or on top of the lab petri dish. Then you will give, with your names written on it, with your initials written on it, you will give me the petri dish with your segments of the planarian specimen, and then I will store it away for the next week or so when we come back together as a class and make more observations as the week progresses, okay?